What up and welcome to Tell Me I'm Wrong. I am Marsh. We've got Rick. We've got Yells in the building. Happy New Year to all, and to all a good 2026. The NBA is dying. Tell me I'm wrong. All right, let me caveat that. Let me caveat that because it's a bold statement. Is the NBA going to cease to exist? No, it is not. However, in a year in which a new year in which the NBA is on a brand new TV contract that's paying them billions of dollars, in which they're using this proof point of inflated, or I should say record setting national viewership numbers, how they're the most talked about thing on social media on Christmas Day, which Adam Silver apparently adores and only cares about things on social media because basketball is a highlight sport and not a sport you actually tune in and watch. We have flops, we have fouls being drawn. We have the best team in basketball. Their star player is known as a foul merchant and not the superstar amongst common fans. And a season that is too long and star players getting knocked out. Rick, the NBA is not in the place that it thinks it is, and there needs to be changes to it.
I think there needs to be changes. I don't think it's the players. I think it's everything else around it.
I agree.
You got the Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. He's a phenomenal player, but he is a foul merchant. They said a lot of that by James Harden when he was in Houston Rockets. So I understand that from both sides. They have a lot of bright, good young stars. I like Wemby. He's a freak of nature. Literally, he is a walking freak of nature. Now, he's not going to be able to be the torch barrier for the NBA because he's not going to play no more than 50 games a season. That's just what it is. So he's not going to be. He's not. They're going to change the policies on how many games you can play in order to be to qualify for certain awards because he's never going to qualify because I don't think he's ever going to play 65 games a year. I don't think his body is built to do that. You look it up in the game of history, big man of that size who can move anything remotely close to what he can move, and no one can move as great as he is, have injury problems. That just is what it is. But there is a savior that the NBA has reluctantly. They kind of warmed up to him, then they kind of don't warm up to him. But you got the NBA got to go all in on this guy. You go all in this guy. It's gonna be must-watch TV. There's gonna be a lot of censorship that's going on, but it's gonna be a really good time every single time. Anthony freaking Edwards is the guy. For better or for worse, he gives you everything you need in today's NBA. He can play. He can ball. He's uplifting a team that's a small market team. And he's good for social media clips. He's going to give you clip after clip after clip. His off the field, off the court antics is just as exciting as his on the court antics. He signed a check before the baby comes. Who cares? Anthony Edwards says. But then he gives away his jersey to kids in the stands. The man is the man of all people. Anthony Edwards, go all in on Anthony Edwards and let him be the superstar that you know he already is. Believe that.
So let me go. I'm gonna jump on the Anthony Edwards topic real quick, and then I'll come to yours, March. Just because that's how things flow. Anthony Edwards, I'm a huge fan of Anthony Edwards. I'm not even gonna argue with anything Rick has to say. I'll piggyback it by saying he has. There's people sometimes where you don't know why their personality works. Like technically, if you were to mold and say what corporate sponsorship and the marketing machine should get behind, when you looked at a LeBron, when you looked at a Steph Curry, who was the poster boy of particular thing, you can go down the line of all the what they expect Wemby to be, and just going further back, your Michael Jordan, Jacoby's not. Anthony Edwards is not that, but when you see him on TV, it's almost, and I don't want to sound weird, and just, you know how they used to say Michael Jordan had that infectious smile? That's what they would say. Behind the scenes, he was slapping the shit out of people, right? But on screen, he was smiling. He had something about a smile. Like Anthony Edwards just has that good energy. I'm right there with you. On top of him being a highlight machine, he's actually clearly a hard worker. He cares about the game. He's everything that the NBA needs, and he can still appeal to the older fans, to the mid-level fans like ourselves, and the youth. He hits checks every box. Great, good for him. The NBA will figure that part out. As far as the NBA dying, so to speak, I do think they need to get behind Anthony Edwards. Honestly, I'm just going to be sitting here piggybacking everything Rick had to say. Here's the challenge the NBA has, though. There's a slew, and I do mean a slew of policy and rule changes they're going to have to make. And the problem is they've taken so long to put some of these rules into play that it's not something you can slow roll in while you continue to lose particular types of fans like myself. Like, you have to institute them quickly, but they have to be the right ones. They have to be marketed the right way. Certain things have to be put out there for people to digest them, or it seems very gimmicky, right? We see guys shooting from the logo. There has to be something like a 4-point play, but doesn't a 4-point play sound stupid as shit? Like, it sounds crazy, but there should be something, right? All the foul baiting, all the letting do. Man, I turned on the game the other day, watch with my son, and I wasn't even going in to be cynical. The level, I saw 4 very clear travels because the referee doesn't want to stop a game. Like, they were absurd. Like, the traveling that goes on and the adaptation of rules for offense, we got it. Like, the guys are skilled. Let them be skilled. Don't bend the rules. So there's a lot of rules that they've kind of, they got to go back to the drawing board and use some of the things from the 90s and a little earlier, some of the things from 2000, and use some things going in the future to keep things going. But because I see you itching, Marsh, my whole thing though, when I watch the NBA, and I've said this to y'all off screen many times, Rick's made the point on a couple shows. Aside from that, because it's been a highlight machine for so long, all the kids are trying to play the same way. It don't matter if you're 7 feet tall, 6'1", if you're 250 pounds, 500 pounds, they're doing the same shit, and none of them are as good as Steph Curry. So that's what watered down the game for a lot of us peers, because no team has an identity. They're all doing the same thing, but they're not doing it as good as the greatest player and the greatest team to get that done. Go ahead and get your Golden State Warriors jump off, man. Do it.
No, so you guys do this great thing where you give me every single take that you possibly have, because it's like you're a man running out of air, and you're like, I'm not going to get a chance to speak ever again, so I'm going to give you everything. You guys are. Here's the first thing. I don't think there's going to be many folks here on this show amongst the three of us that we're going to argue or disagree on things. But there's a couple things I want to get to, one thing at a time. I want to start with the fouls, because I think that is problem number one that the NBA faces. Before I get to that, we have to talk about what the NBA is saying right now. So the NBA, immediately after Christmas Day, comes out and says this was it was, I guess the first one was in early December. This was the most watched national television games to start the season. True statement. You want to know why that's a true statement? Because they added more national television games. Right. They added more. I could say I worked more days of the week this week if I just started working on Saturday and Sunday. I mean, You've created a number for themselves that's artificial. On Christmas Day, they came out and said this was the most watched section, like they sectioned off each day. Those are real numbers. But then they just get hyper fixated on this. Well, social media. It was the most talked about thing on social media, which aligns perfectly, Rick, with what Adam Silver was talking about at the beginning of the season when he says we are a highlight sport. People watch the highlights on social media.
Wait,
People don't watch
did
the
he say
highlights.
that?
That was a major thing that he brought up at the beginning of the year, which is why they're coming back to this point and saying, oh, we are the number one talked about thing on social media on Christmas Day. You're the number one thing because the football game sucked, because the NFL was stupid and tried to take over Christmas Day. Their product was terrible. The games were terrible. Like, there was, one playoff team. The Denver Nuggets end up playing in it. So, Rick, this is a league that is acting as if all these numbers are hunky-dory, and they're not, because they are using numbers that fit the agenda that they're trying to bring in the first year after a year that they signed a massive multi-billion-dollar. And then at the same time, he's talking about how he's shitting on ESPN while he's talking to the Amazon Prime guys, saying, I like that you guys are actually analyzing the game. The coverage and this focus on ratings, Rick, is, I think, problem number one that the league faces.
Rick, before you jump in there, isn't that the old Triple H? It's the old Triple H strategy. If you, for anybody watches WWE right now, that's what they do. Every pay-per-view for the last 3 years has been the most watched with the most fans, and that's what they hype you around, is like the FOMO. You missed out. Look how many people it is. He stole it straight out the playbook of wrestling, man.
It's funny you mention that, because that's exactly what I was going to say. He's treated as like the WWE. He's going WWE as far as marketing is concerned, which is not a good move because they are a totally different product. And so I guess he figures if I can't compete with the NFL, let me compete with another sport that's or sport maybe depending on how you look at it. Which is he's taking a wrestling tactic with WNBA, and I think that's going to blow up his face.
The WNBA is taking their own tactic.
The WWE, and I think that's going to blow up in his face. So I think his marketing people, his marketing team, they need to tell him, "Hey man, pipe down and let us get back to fundamental basketball and find another way to get this thing going. Make it more about the players." Nobody. Let me say something. As a fan or as a consumer, I give two you know whats about how many people watch the game. I don't give a shit. I could care less. That's something you bring up in your board meetings. That's something you bring up to your stakeholders. We don't care about that. So for us, you want to give us what we care about? Give us more of the players. You want to know how the NBA can kind of start getting more traction? Let the cameras go behind in the locker rooms for a second. Put the camera. You put the camera everywhere else. Put it in the locker room right after the game. On those Netflix games, on those games when you got games with these networks that can curse and everything. Go in the locker room right after the game and see the real reaction from these players. That's gonna be exciting. You know what I mean? Let the Drake. You know what? Don't call a check on. Don't kick Draymond Green out the game. Let him play and see what he does. Or when they get kicked out, have the camera follow him to the locker room. Let's see how ballistic he go in the locker room. Like, there's ways to enhance the product, but telling us all these buku whack ass numbers we care nothing about is not the way to enhance the product. It's about the player.
That's the manufactured part of like society now too. That's the other thing. But like what you're saying is like we don't need you to manufacture who we're supposed to like. We're gonna like them. We don't need the rules to say what part of the game we like and for you to dictate it through the refereeing. Let us decide. Maybe we like to watch the Memphis Grizzlies walk that bitch up and down the court and score 75 points. If you don't like it, turn on a different team. Turn on a team that's running and gunning. Let the teams have identity. Like reality plays out better than forced action. So I feel like you hit that on the head, Rick. And then the extra little camera joint. They mic people up, and you know how you remember that old. I used to hate LeBron James, Marsh. I used to hate his guts. I respect him now. The reason I hated him, but it also was one of the reasons I tuned in, just like with Floyd Mayweather. Hated him for years. That's why he made so much money. People wanted to see him get his ass whooped. Never happened, but that's why he made money. I saw LeBron James while he was still in his first stint with Cleveland. He was a young guy. Had him mic'd up, and the Cavs were down like 20 points going into the halftime. Mike Brown's the coach. LeBron's mic'd up. They come back in the third quarter. And they're still down. LeBron's bench. They cut to him mic'd up, show us what he had to say just before they go to commercial. And LeBron leans over and he's mic'd up. He tells Coach, put the king back in the game if you want to win. I thought that was the most disgusting thing ever. We could do a whole nother show about that. But that's why I hated him. When he played,
I love that.
I tuned in, right? You loved it. You tuned in. I hated it. I tuned in. The players were the players. Mic them up. Camera their asses up. Do it.
Let's be honest, though. If you were to mic up Anthony Edwards, he's saying the same damn thing. He might not be calling himself the king. He might not even be calling himself Ant-Man. He might not be calling himself in the third person. But he is going to be saying, yo, coach, let me back in this thing right now. Probably using much more choice language than that. I mean, so you can hate on LeBron for saying that. That's fine. I, like Rick, I respect the guy that says, give me the ball. I'm going to end this thing.
He was in the game. He's the reason they were down 20. Don't get me started on that shit. He was in the game when they were down 20.
Well, LeBron, speaking of LeBron, we're going to skip ahead to a different point. We will get back to fouls, which I continue to think I'm not alone on this island. We need to move on from stars. And the league is so dead set on only being obsessed with the current stars. So I always like to compare what's the NFL doing to the NBA. Why do people love the NFL but they don't love the NBA? And the NFL is certainly very much in love with Patrick Mahomes. I'm not going to act as if that's not a true statement. However, they are not so in love with Patrick Mahomes to the detriment of Drake May, of Matthew Stafford, who should have been 5 years past his prime, but he's still relevant. They are not so in love with Aaron Rodgers that they refuse to acknowledge the current. I'm using quarterbacks because that is what the NFL is built around, is star quarterbacks. They are not so in love with the old quarterbacks that they will not acknowledge and appreciate the young ones. Now, look, as a proud Jacksonville Jaguars fan, AFC South champions, have they gotten as much media attention? No. Have they loved that? Yeah, because Liam Cohen is a dog. Duval. I mean, it's fantastic. You love everything about him. I know Nick doesn't because he's a Texans fan. Duval. That should be the new one, although it's not as intimidating as the current Duval. But the star treatment right now, LeBron James, in the first round of All-Star voting, was 9th. Fan voting had him 9th, which means the top 5, or however they're going to do it this year with the 3 All-Star teams, I don't know. But he was 9th in All-Star voting. But you talk to, or you listen to anybody that covers the NBA, and they say, it doesn't matter, LeBron James is getting in because it's an All-Star game in Los Angeles, albeit at Intuit Dome and not crypto. That's a problem. We should not be so in love, Rick, with the old stars that we refuse to say, well, Jokic is hurt, but Anthony Edwards and SGA, as annoying as he is still a superstar in this league, embracing Victor Wembanyama even more than they already have. The people want to see the freak. They want to see the 7'4", absolutely incredible basketball player play. But we're so dead set on, well, we got to get LeBron, we got to get Steph Curry, we've got to get Kevin Durant, and if we aren't hitting those numbers, then this league isn't good. We cannot continue to say LeBron is an all-star because he's not. He's got a 40-year-old injury, and he's a 42-year-old man.
You about to get Rick going. Oh, my God. Oh, holy shit.
I agree with you in terms of the NBA needs to do a much better job of highlighting other young players as the old guards kind of fade out. But LeBron James is an all-star for as long as he plays. It's kind of like the Michael Jordan theory.
He's not an all-star right now.
When Michael Jordan played, you could give him the MVP every year when he's with the Bulls. Every year he was deserving of it. They didn't give it to him because that would get boring. But when he was with the Bulls, every year you could have gave him the MVP. So now, really, LeBron James getting an all-star vote matters not. The problem the NBA has is the young guys want to do it their way, and the NBA wants it done a certain way. The NBA wants another Steph Curry. There's not going to be another clean-cut Steph Curry. Now, for a while, they need to highlight Anthony Edwards. LaMelo Ball needs to be on everybody's TV screen. For better or for worse, he needs to be on everybody's TV because what he does on the court is street ball at its finest.
Nah, you can't. Rick,
it's going to drive some folks crazy, but there's going to be a group of people that's going to love it. And just like the Mayweather argument, people want to tune in to see him get shut down. But very few people can do it. Very few can. He has a Mayweather quality as far as
Rick. It's still
as far as I have this skill set, and I'm going to jump off one leg. I'm going to shoot from half court. I'm going to do a 360 turnaround. I'm going to throw between my legs on a fast break, and there's nothing you idiots can do about it but like it. Because I'm going to do it, and you can't stop me. The only person who can shut down LaMelo Ball is the coach.
So the only for as good a job as LeVar Ball, not LeVar. Is it LeVar? Is that his dad? Whatever. Yeah. The Ball's dad, right? For as good a job as he did getting his kids to the league, he's almost as bad as Ja Morant's dad. You can't put an R rating on a basketball game. That's the unfortunate part of everything you just said. LaMelo Ball has absolutely no containment or refinement to anything that he's going to say. If you remember, he was on WWE and Vince McMahon told him that they were going to fine him $100,000. He dropped the N-bomb, the B-bomb. He said, bitch, N-bomb. He threw them in together in one single word on the microphone. They were like, oh my God, what have we done? And everyone said, I told you, you can't have him. No, you can't have him mic'd up. No, you can't do it. Not LaMelo.
I don't want LaMelo mic'd up. I want to see him playing more, though.
No, they have won 10 games. The team is terrible. He shoots sub 30% from anywhere. The only thing that LaMelo Ball, I will admit to you, is good at is social media followers and having kids do 6'7". That's it. And when you are trying to attract actual audience and not 10-year-olds, You can't have LaMelo Ball as the face of it. You have to have some sign of it, but LaMelo Ball is playing Harlem Globetrotters basketball and
Yeah,
not NBA basketball.
they sell out. Listen,
Put him on the
but
Harlem Globetrotters then.
if you're the commissioners already playing the WWE game, go. All I'm saying is, if you're gonna go that route, go all the way that route. LaMelo Ball is going all the way that route.
They tried
if you're gonna go that route, if I have a saying, if you're gonna walk up to the bell, you might as well ring that motherfucker. If you're gonna go the route, go all the way in on is all I'm saying. Because playing in between, going the WWE route, and then still talking about LeBron James is like watching wrestling and then bringing out Ron Simmons and talking about how great of a wrestler he is. No one cares about Ron Simmons in 2025.
To your point.
If you're going to go that route, just go all the way there is what I'm saying.
To your point and to Marsh's point, they did try with Ja Morant. That was a route they were about to go. They wanted to push him, and him and his dad screwed that up.
Get up and try it again. It backfired. They tried it.
He did the gun silly again last night. So you won't give him. He did it again and pulled
idiot.
it back.
Because he's an idiot. I mean, at the end of the day, that's the most obvious thing.
I'm not gonna lie. I love the bomb, the explosion we do his ears. I love that one. I'm not gonna lie. That one is nice. I like that one a lot.
The biggest problem with that one, Rick, is he does it after he makes a three and he can't shoot, so that doesn't happen ever. So to your point on the WWE, the NBA is not trying to be the WWE. I don't think they should try to be the WWE. Let wrestling be wrestling, because wrestling, we know, is manufactured. And that's the other problem that currently exists with the NBA, is the constant accusations that every single game, and this is true across all sports, but basketball tends to be the largest offender. The chief among them is that the games are fixed. And you know what doesn't help? When you have two people in your league, actually it's three, that are arrested and indicted by the FBI for gambling.
Yeah.
The fixed league issues have plagued this league for so long, and they do zero things to stop it. They do not. We have the ability to immediately review every play, and we say some plays aren't reviewable. We have the ability to immediately know when something is right or wrong, and even when challenged, when a coach challenges a play and the foul is deemed to be phantom, the league still says, well, on this not really push of SGA, what you see is Al Horford's arm was just ever so slightly touching the fabric
Just
of
say
the
they got it
jersey,
wrong.
and therefore
they don't even want to cut the Secaucus. They don't even cut the Secaucus.
The fouls, but the combination of this fixed game allegations, and Rick or Yos, you can take this in either direction. The fixed game allegations that fans have, coupled with the ongoing FBI investigations, and the foul calls that are made, that SGA is more determined in the same way that James Harden was to draw a foul and not actually make a basketball play. And to your point earlier, that's why Anthony Edwards is so much fun to watch. That's why Jokic is fun to watch. That's why Wemby's fun to watch. They don't try to draw a foul. They just play the game of basketball, and they don't get the fouls because they're not doing one of these. And that's that. Anytime
do that
you get
again, Marsh.
contact,
Oh my God!
You want this one again for our folks watching on? You drive in, you get a little contact. I'm going to get contact by the mic, and then it's all the way out there.
And folks,
foul. Where's the whistle?
That there is an image of a person who you know doesn't play basketball, because that was a terrible pump fake. Mark just attempted right there.
Because I am a shooter and I'm not a ball handler, and that's just the simple truth to it. This complexion means I shoot the basketball. I don't dribble the basketball, I shoot the basketball. I know my place on a basketball court, plus I'm 5'7", so it doesn't really go hand in hand. So Rick, the foul's the fixed game. I mean, that is, I think, the third major problem that is charging the league right now, and they can't escape it, and they're doing nothing to get away from it.
I have no rebuttal for that. The fouls are terrible. Again, I'm in Houston, so I've seen James Harden do it, so I understand. Now I'm on the other side of it, so I see it from this perspective. It looks clunky at best, right? And you want to say this is the best superstar in the league, and it looks really clunky, right? So I don't know what to do about that. The allegations about the gambling, it's really messy stuff, man. First of all, I'm trying to figure out how this kind of stuff gets out, but again, it's a whole nother thing by itself. In the NFL, I just feel like two things are happening. One, I don't think the NBA does a good enough job protecting their players outside the court. And two, again, kind of back to Marsh's point, going with the old guard, I think you need to listen. You gotta stop. We don't need to see the Lakers on every Christmas. That's over with.
God.
Like we don't need to see. I love Golden State. We don't need to see
don't.
like that's over with. You stop talking about those that matter. That the NBA is slow to go with the times and the changes. Right. There's some teams, exciting teams that need to be getting mentioned. And your Atlanta Hawks, and everybody's not playing well, right? Sometimes you got to put a team who's sorry but have something makes entertainment value to them. You got to put them on a pedestal. The NFL has done a great job of pumping teams up. We know damn well they had no business being on national TV, but they're gonna pump up the player or pump up the fan or the mascot. They're gonna find some angle to make it like, should be watchable. And the NBA just want to go to their old guards. The All-Star game needs to be reformatted terribly. See, that's the red flag. When your biggest product, which is supposed to highlight your best players, is in the dump, that tells you that's foreshadowing what the league is going to be, right? So you need to revamp the All-Star. I think when it comes to like the dunk contest, I have a sample. I have a really I can fix this problem in like 30 seconds. Just what you do.
Whoa. Come back to that. Let me get in on this.
What?
Let me get on this.
Oh, all right.
Because he wanted to talk about the.
Again, you think you're about to drown over there, so you're getting every takeout that you possibly.
I be rolling, man. I be rolling.
We got a lot of time here with our friends, man. We got a lot of time.
You right.
We'll argue with
You
your ass too. So here I got three things on that topic. Number one, you talk about the foul baiting and the refereeing and all the allegations, right? It's all rolled up in one. And I think, like, Rick, you hit on it, but I think you glossed over it too quickly, man. The protecting his players, that's a huge deal. Like, they really, you got to be able to get a hold on how information gets out as a business, right? Not as a sports league, not as the NBA and athletic commission. As a business, you get a hold on your reputation management. Like the information gets out. Every business does that. Why the hell does everyone know that? You think about this right now. Tim Donaghy looks like a choir boy compared to some of the shit that gets out now. Number two, Tim Donaghy has a tell-all on Netflix. How the hell did they let that happen? Why didn't they have him sign pay him whatever you got to pay him to shut the hell up? The conspiracies run wild with that information. If you go take a look at that, it's hard to refute anything that goes on at this point. It's out of this world.
Hold on. Before you finish that, and I'm going to give it right back to you, but for anyone listening or watching that might not know who Tim Donaghy is, he was an official in the 1990s and 2000s who was accused and ended up going to jail with the FBI because of fixing games. When the NBA and their commissioner at the time, David Stern, learned that the FBI was investigating Tim Donaghy and they were trying to essentially sting the entire league to determine how many officials were involved in this gambling ring, David Stern came out and essentially preempted it, preventing any further investigations. One of the most polarizing officials in today's NBA, and honestly, I haven't seen him much this year, so I don't know what's going on with him, but anyway, is Scott Foster, who is a very polarizing NBA official currently. He was very, very close with Tim Donaghy back in the day. In fact, a lot of phone calls that he would have, they would be 2 to 3 minute phone calls right before a basketball game that one of the two, they were both officiating at the time, would call. So when you say that, that's the background for anybody that's not familiar with who Tim Donaghy is.
That's why we love Marsh. Look at that insight.
My mom's listening, and I know she's gonna have no idea who that is, and she's gonna be like, "Who was that guy?" So that's for you, Mom. Now you know. So continue.
You've done the voices and the antics. You're on fire today with the.
I'm cooking.
So yeah,
go ahead.
But he doesn't look as bad as half the people look now in the the day that we live in with social media. So that's protect the players, protect the information, and protect your league as a whole. God damn, it's a brand. To protect the entire brand, which leads me to my last point, and I mean it. Put the flags up, all whatever you need to do when I say this. It's time for Adam Silver to go. He's the problem because he does not understand what is required in the game for this business, what the rules need to be, how to. Look, we've ran down a litany of things right now that is solely on the commissioner and the leader of the NBA. He's not doing his job. Look, the players are going to be who they're going to be. We live in a different time where people are crazier. They say wild shit like LaMelo Ball, like Anthony Edwards, like us, right? That's what happens. But protect your players, protect your brand, and then change the policies and be proactive instead of retroactive. He's trying to fix all this shit while people are walking away from watching the game. It's bad. It's time for someone else.
Which is a stunning turn of events, because when Adam Silver took over as the NBA commissioner in the wake of David Stern was very buttoned up. He enforced a dress code for guys, which has now kind of gone by the wayside, which I don't think is a big deal, but that's just the type of ship that David Stern ran. Adam Silver came in, was very pro-player, and his approval rating was through the roof because the first thing that he did was kick out a racist owner in the Los Angeles Clippers. And in a polarizing moment that he had when this tape comes out that I keep wanting to call him Robert Sarver, but that was the Suns owner. Donald Sterling was the Clippers owner. The Clippers are in the middle of a Golden State Warriors playoff series in 2014. Rick, Yells, you're muted, so if you're talking, I can't hear
Just
you.
a mile per hour. I said we got to do a show on that, by the way. I have some thoughts about that whole situation.
Well, perfect. So, but that's where he comes in. The players are ready to strike and not play in the game because this audio comes out of Sterling using the N-word and referring to people with his mistress about essentially not bringing black people to basketball games. He didn't like that. And so his approval rating, Silver's, was through the roof. And now that sentiment, Yells, that you just made, I see constantly. If I'm browsing NBA Reddit, it's Adam Silver needs to go. This is terrible. This is all happening on Adam Silver's watch. He's the common denominator, and then he goes out and has press conferences in which he sounds, Rick, completely tone deaf to what the fans actually want.
And then he looks like a snake too. Does he look like he literally looks like a reptile?
I'm not going after people's. Your man with sunglasses on accuses other people of looking weird.
I look like a man with shades on. He looks like a reptilian.
If Adam Silver is gone, who comes in?
I don't know.
James.
I don't. Not LeBron.
We definitely need.
I like that.
The NBA definitely needs LeBron James' PR team. We haven't heard a peep about any bad things come out of his camp. That we at least we know the information will be contained by LeBron James's team.
That's what he should be doing. He should be hitting Rich Paul and them, be like, "Hey, guys, you guys run a tight ship over here. What are y'all doing? And how can we get those services here for the NBA?
Please, Mal Carter, Rich
run a
Paul,
really tight
LeBron.
ship over there."
Anybody.
Well, so let's stay on the Adam Silver piece, because I think that's one of the challenges that the league faces, is that they're, from a fan base perspective, and we here are all fans. We are not reporters. We are not, insiders. We are fans of the game of basketball. And this is a very commonly held belief, is that there is a lack of trust in the ownership group to get things right. And the evidence that you can point to right now is the ongoing investigation that the league is doing into Kawhi Leonard and aspiration and the Los Angeles Clippers.
About that too.
If you're unfamiliar with that, which I'm sure plenty of people are, I will give you as condensed a version as I can get. Kawhi Leonard was a star free agent in the NBA. For some reason, he signed with the Los Angeles Clippers in 2019. It was a surprise move. He's from LA. People thought he would go to the Lakers. He didn't. He signs with the Los Angeles Clippers. A couple of years later, he signs an endorsement contract with a group called Aspiration. Aspiration had a number of notable popular celebrity endorsers. Leonardo DiCaprio, Drake. They did a number of ads for Aspiration. Aspiration was essentially saying, you pay us and we will make any of your operations carbon neutral. We'll plant a tree for every dollar that you do or any effort that you make. Drake and Leonardo DiCaprio, reputable names, were spokespeople for this company. Kawhi Leonard's contract was signed with essentially a no-show clause. He did not have to do any type of promotion of the organization, nor did he do any promotion of the organization under contract. It was very specific on when, or I shouldn't say specific, it was coincidental the number of times that the owner, Steve Ballmer of the Clippers, would invest in Aspiration, align with the days and the amount of money in which Kawhi Leonard got paid out. Most notably was a $50 million investment that Steve Ballmer made into the company, and then Kawhi Leonard proceeded to get $24 million in a contract and then $24 million in stock options from the company that were essentially guaranteed to be $24 million.
Yeah. If you go
There's other things that are high level.
you look up these businesses too. Like one of them was like Kawhi Finger's index finger. The other one was like Kawhi Leonard's head. Like they weren't even real businesses anywhere near.
The only reason that people ever, and Pablo Torre, shout out to him, he has a great podcast. The only reason people know about this is because when Aspiration filed for bankruptcy and their two CEO, their owner and founders went to jail with the FBI for fraud, one of the creditors for Aspiration was called K2 Aspiration or K2 Aspire, and lo and behold, the only member of that organization was Kawhi Leonard. So this hangs over the league, in which very clearly creates salary cap circumvention, in which you cannot pay a player more money than you are allowed to by NBA rules. It appears to the common fan that this is more than enough evidence, Rick, that they were doing something shady, and yet the NBA, which very conveniently has the All-Star Game in February in the brand new Intuit Dome, owned by the Los Angeles Clippers and Steve Ballmer, have not concluded this investigation, and it feels as if the league does not care about anything that's going on, and anybody can do this, and that pisses fans off. And now we've lost.
We can't hear you, Rick.
You know, sorry, fellas. You know when it's time to move on with from a situation, whenever the person or persons in the situation can't do wrong right, and this is that case. They did wrong, and you managed to screw up. All you business minds couldn't put a decent shell company together where it can't be found out by a third grader. Like it's that within itself is a fireable offense for the commissioner. Forget everything else we just talked about. If you can't do wrong right, you need to get out the seat because you can't do right then.
It's even when they do stuff, it just doesn't look good. Like even to look when this happens, right? When this happens, what is this going to look like? And Rick, you're the person to ask this. What is it going to look like when Vegas actually has an NBA team? LeBron owns it or has some piece of it, and all this other shit that's going on. What's that going to look like?
And they
Rick?
get the number one pick in the first draft that they're eligible to get, and it'll be some superstar piece in the same way that the
What's it
Mavs
going to look like?
Yo, I didn't even think about that, bro.
But it's coming. You can run the writings on the wall. What's it going to look like though?
For sure, people still. I'm still perplexed on how the Mavericks, who had a 0.2% chance, got Cooper Flag number one after making a bet, the worst deal trade in history. Like we've seen now. Let me, in fairness, we've seen remnants of this in the David Stern era. We can think about the Chris Paul trade that got nixed, and a few other things. The Tim Duncan and getting drafted by the San Antonio Spurs right after right after Dave Robinson got. We've seen, but it hasn't been this.
You
egregious.
couldn't call it.
That's been this egregious.
Nobody was like, I see this coming when that shit happened. All of this stuff, like you saw it, like as Kawhi signed with the Clippers, the conversation was everything that has actually came out. You know what I'm saying? Like all of this stuff, it's crazy. It's crazy.
We've been going for a little bit, and I think it's time to pay some bills by people
that
have not sponsored
to pay
us.
some bills there, Marsh.
I'm paying bills today. All right. Pause for dramatic effect. Today's podcast is not sponsored by, timely, NBA Youngboys album, Massa. Am I pronouncing that correct? I hope so. I'm not gonna lie, it's pressure. This joint tough, straight menace music. He slid, he snapped, he was talking real spicy on every track. I feel like this is not meant to be read by a white person. Massa got that energy where you just want to throw on a black hoodie, walk faster for no reason, and start thinking, you really outside like that, nah mean. 808s hitting, pain hitting, them chains imaginary, but they heavy. I caught myself like, yeah, that struggle music, that ain't sleeping days vibe, even though I absolutely slept a solid 8 hours. Production, clean. Lyrics, disrespectful. Aura, dangerous. Had me in the whip nodding like I got ops. I don't. But Young Boy made it feel believable. So yeah, Tell Me I'm Wrong is not sponsored by NBA Young Boy, but Massa Hard. No cap.
You nailed it, Marsh. You nailed it. You sound like you might be like a distant relative to Gary Owen.
I'm gonna tell you right now. After I've heard that, Marsh, I don't want any problems with you. I'm sorry for whatever I may have done.
You nailed it. You nailed it, Marsh.
Thank you so much. I tried my best. I was really nervous. There was a word waiting around the corner that I wasn't going to want to say that. So thank you for not getting me canceled before we ever became a thing. All right, before we get back to the NBA, I want to do something that I did not prepare either of you two for, but I was thinking about it today, and I don't have a good name for this quite yet. It's like mini wrongs or something like that, where it was just things I was thinking about where it's not quite a full show. I don't think there's a full show in any of these statements, but they're things that came to my mind that I just wanted to share. And if something comes to your mind, I would love to hear it. But tell me I'm wrong that we need to stop saying, "Can you believe it's already insert?" Okay? Today we're recording this on Monday, January 5th. If you look at the calendar, that means that by January 23rd, we will be just 3 full weeks. I guess let's say the 16th. The 16th of January, we will have 2 work weeks in the month of January and in 2026. And I promise you, somebody at your office, if you're listening to this, or the one of you two, somebody on January 16th, you're going to walk into a meeting and they're going to say, "Can you believe it's already January 16th? And I'm just saying right now, STFU. I do not want to hear it. I do not want to hear, "Can you believe it's already?" Yes, I can believe it's already because the days passed and now it is January 16th. Yesterday was the 15th.
I have a quote for shit like that. I have a quote. It's called, "That's math. That's how the days work. The time fucking went by." Yes, I can believe it.
You guys are looking at it wrong. That's why you have the perspective. They're saying, "Can you believe?" Because goddamn it, their bill is due again. They ain't got the money, so they short on cash, and they saying, "My God, can you believe it's already time to pay that bill? That car note is due. I just got off Christmas. Can you believe it's time to pay that car note again? I can't believe it." That's what. If you're a guy, can you believe child support took out money again? When I told them I was coming up a little short, they took out more the next month. That's why they're saying, "Can you believe it's the 16th already?" Not because the math is right, it's because their math is wrong.
That I have overlooked, but I do not need the reminder, especially in the office, that "Can you believe it's already that day?" I sure can, because those numbers.
You hear somebody say, "Can you believe how much time has went by?" when it's specific to time, just buy them lunch, hand them a couple of dollars, right? That's what you say. I got you. Can you believe?
That's what they're really saying. I got you. They really said, "Do you have a couple of dollars to spare?" Because
I'll give them my credit card. I'll say, "Here you go. Lunch is on me." All right, then I got one more for you. And then if you guys got something, feel free. Otherwise, we're back to NBA and no obligation. I think we need an age limit on when you can refer to somebody in the friendly vernacular, let's call it. Today I was at the gym and I was at my locker. I had just finished my workout. There was a guy, must have been at least 55, 60 years old, and he's trying to get into the locker next to me. And he goes, "Excuse me, bro, got to get in here." You're too old to call me bro. In the same way that I'm not walking up to a 15-year-old and calling them whatever it is that they're calling one another. I'm young enough to be your son. I am not your bro, and we need an age limit on. You can call bro if it's in your age bracket range. You go too far below that, we can't do this. I'm just not your bro. You could be my father.
Can I ask a question, Marsh? I feel like he had a mean tan, didn't he?
Attention, leave the building immediately.
Yes.
That is not why I feel this way. That is not why I feel this way. For full clarification, I'm not your bro, man. Like, call me man, call me dude,
I'm
call
just
me
saying,
hey,
I know that guy.
Call me young man, call me like be Be derogatory for me. I don't care. You can insult me. Just don't call me bro. That's all I was looking for.
You know, I saw something recently. I'm trying to find on my phone where I think I took a screenshot where they have it. They have the categories, age categories listed for what age you are a bro, what age you're an unk, what age you're a school. Like if I find it throughout this at some point in time during this show, I'll talk about it. But yeah, I thought it was phenomenal. I thought it was fantastic. I think
it had OG
placed around
on
the
there and
city.
stuff too.
Yeah, so you'll know at what age group what category you fall in. So that way we know what to say and how to respond to said person. So I'm with you with that, Marsh. Like you call me you know what I don't like? Don't call me twin.
Oh,
Do not call me twin.
I've never got twin before.
I don't even want to hear people say it. Don't say it.
If you didn't come up my loin, do not call me twin.
I have a mini wrong. I don't want to get to it. I do want to. Let me get this one on the bro one. Here's another one. Actually, I have two. Here's on the bro one. Here's another one because we got the Oreo cookie thing happening right now. Marsh, there's a you know how kind of like we talked about one of the last episodes. There could be a hard R. There could be that long EI. Like in certain words, like don't say them. It depends on how you say it, right? I don't like the sarcastic bro because I feel like there's connotation. Like when some people are like, okay, we got it, bro. Like motherfucker, like I know what you wanted to say. You hit it. You hit it. Okay, bro, like the pause and the hard part. No, that one needs to go away too. Maybe we get rid of bro. Like unless we're brothers or twins, right?
But you can do that for any word though. I don't think it's exclusive to bro. I can say the word boy. You know how I say the word boy. It's gonna sound different.
No, that one doesn't sound derogatory.
What the hell, boy? If I say
boy,
if I say hell, boy, when you know I'm coming to you in a whole different angle at that point.
Here's the other one. Here's the other one, and I mean this with all my heart because my mom sent it to me the other day, and I got pissed off. Really, it's for guys, but I don't care. Don't ever send me a text that says K. Don't. Get rid of that shit. It's already abbreviated to OK. It's a word, O-K-A-Y. It's been shortened to OK. You can't type just OK. And furthermore, I know for a fact no one types K that doesn't do it like this. Don't send me K. There's no other way to type that. Don't send it to me.
So you must really hate the KK.
I've never seen that on my phone. I know what you're saying.
You've never seen
What's KK?
I mean, that's got to be a lighter melanin type of thing. It's literally just the letters K and the letter K.
Yeah,
what does it mean?
It's like an additional. It's like okay, but like I'm excited about okay.
So you could just put the letter O in
exactly. You see how you look exactly.
Hey, we're gonna go get smoothies. KK.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's what it is. So you got the single little K. You got that K. That's what they're doing with the double K.
They're both terrible.
I agree. I was in a club one night in Vegas. This was years ago, and I was talking to some young ladies. It must have been like 2:00 in the morning Vegas time, and so I was texting. I was texting Bishop, my partner Bishop. That sounds weird. My business partner.
For you, Rick, it's not his actual church bishop. It's not.
You gotta be real specific. My business partner, Bishop Black. And so I was texting him in the club, probably something about the club I was seeing or whatever. Anyway, these girls I was talking to, one of them grabbed the phone. Cool. And so I guess she kind of read through the text. It wasn't nothing crazy. And then she responded with K. He responded back and says, I know this is not Rick. Who got Rick phone? I'm like, my guy, you already know. There's no way I'm sending you a message that says K on it. I don't want to get down that way. I pulled on my pants leg, one leg at a time, and not laying on the bed trying to slide in some jeggings.
Look at that. So none of us are good with one single K. Like that sucks, right? And then 2 Ks, Rick's heard it for the first time. That's awful. How about 3? Any hands? All right.
See, that's what I was afraid of with that ad read. I was afraid I was walking into something like that.
I like how you slow roll that though, yo. You slow rolled it, and I like how you slow rolled it.
Almost got somebody in the comments. I know they're like, yeah.
Hell yeah. You got somebody, some duts.
All right. Rick, any mini wrongs before we get back on topic here on this very long mini tangent here that we've had?
Man, Not off the top of my head. If it comes to me, I'll let you know.
We'll bring it in whenever. Okay,
I like that,
let's
Marsh.
get back to.
That was nice.
Thank you. I'm trying to bring some.
What you call them? They're mini wrongs.
Mini wrongs. Yeah,
I like
mini
that.
wrongs.
Mini wrongs.
We're not doing 45 minutes to an hour on.
Yeah,
Can
it's
you
a mini
believe it's
wrong. It's like a
January
white
16th? Sure. Yeah.
No, white lies are fine.
Yeah.
What's
No
wrong with
problem,
mini
white.
wrongs?
So
But
these are more
mini
than
wrongs,
mini.
you don't want that.
These
Mini
are
wrongs,
the
you don't want
faux
those.
pas.
You don't want that to happen again. If you explain a mini wrong, that's what you don't want to happen again.
Oh, I'm not saying there's
are
anything
fine.
wrong with these things. I'm saying I'm not going to do 45 minutes on I can't be called bro by a 50-year-old man.
Well, for sure.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Because it's self-explanatory, right? Like, don't do it.
Right.
Yeah, I got you.
Right, exactly. That's all it is. Okay.
Did you get that guy's name at the gym, Marsh?
No, but he takes up a whole bench when he's in the locker room, and it drives me insane.
I bet he's the guy that's probably in the gym, in the dressing room. He's naked for an extended period of time. Just got
a little bit too much.
Balls just swinging for like he's chilling. He's checking his emails. He's reading newspapers. He's ironing his clothes. All of that shit while stark naked in a men's locker room. That's the pits.
You see how we all knew exactly who he was, Marsh? I knew that he was tan like a motherfucker. Rick knew that he's just letting his balls in. We know that guy. Call his ass out. So next time you're around and he wants to do all that and call you bro and be all free, find his name out.
Put some draws on.
Find his name out while he's talking to you and call him by his name directly and say, I'm not your bro. I'm not your bro, Hank. Right?
I'm not your bro guy. I'm not your bro guy.
Put your balls up.
Put some britches on. All right, back to the NBA and why it's dying, but not actually dying. The games. So it's today. It's January 5th. I'm just gonna look at the NBA schedule, and I'm just gonna see what's happening on Monday, January 5th.
This is live.
Well,
I like
the Golden
how
State
you're doing
Warriors
it live.
play. The Golden State Warriors play the Los Angeles Clippers. That game doesn't matter. The Pistons and the Knicks are playing right now. That game doesn't matter. The Celtics and the Bulls are playing. Doesn't matter. The Raptors and the Hawks are playing. Also doesn't matter. In fact, there are 4 other games happening tonight, including a pretty good Suns-Rockets game
that you don't
that
even need
does
to
not
name.
matter.
You don't even need to say them because they don't matter.
The games. Now, I'm not saying that NBA games in totality don't matter, but when we have 82 games, the San Antonio Spurs beat the Oklahoma City Thunder 3 times in 12 days.
That's crazy.
For those that aren't following the NBA, the Oklahoma City Thunder, before that stretch, were on pace to win 74, 75 games, would have been an NBA record. They have since already lost their 6th game of the regular season, and the likelihood that they surpass the Warriors record, which honestly I was secretly hoping they would, so we'd stop talking about the 73-9 Warrior season.
You only saying that because they lost. You only saying that much because they lost the championship.
Yes, you are. I am not even going to argue that. That is exactly why I wanted that to happen, so we would shut up about it, and 2016 could start fading away further. But the fact that happened, what did the San Antonio Spurs turn around and do? Lost to the Utah Jazz, a team that is actively not trying to win basketball games. NBA games on an 82-game schedule do not matter. Again, compared to the NFL, which I think can be a little foolish because the NFL will always be king in America. They have 17 games, and I would even argue that's 1 to 2 too many. But you know every single Sunday what's on the line. In a given week in the NBA, it does not matter an outcome. It does not matter who wins or loses because in the grand scheme of things, you have such a large sample size of games that a singular outcome on January 5th does not change who wins a championship at the end of the season in the same way that a 17-game season in the NFL does, where if the Jacksonville Jaguars blow a game to the Houston Texans on the road to Davis Mills, they end up as a 3 seed and not a 1 or a 2 seed and a first-round bye. That does not happen in the NBA.
Well, Marsh, I know you're feel some kind of way about that, but you might as well come on down off that tree because that's not changing. Part of the reason why they got these $billion contracts with these networks is because they're telling them, hey guys, we have 82 games, and I'm going to play mad games on your channel. You're going to get NBA basketball 3-4 times a week. So unfortunately, the 82 games is here to stay. I can see Silverman trying to ramp it up to 85-90. once Vegas comes to town, once they get an extra team, I can see them trying to ramp them more games up because you're trying to get more dollars for your cents. Now,
are the 82 games? Do the 82 games encompass the Emirates Cup as well?
So, interestingly enough, to Rick's point, which I was going to say, but I was going to let him finish, for 2 select teams, they actually play 83 games because the NBA Cup Final does not count as one of the 82 regular season games. They have to, so San Antonio and New York will play 83 games. That game does not count for their standings. So, they already are doing it.
And they're at this windfall because on one hand you got all these games that these players are asked to play, and on the other hand, players get penalized for sitting out games. So it's like, and then on the third hand, if you don't play at least 65 games, you don't qualify for any of the awards. So it's a hodgepodge of crapola that's all in one bowl, and then they give you a teaspoon and say, "Eat it all up, sir." And that's what they're giving us right now.
Which yells their rule, the 65 game rule, again, for those that aren't familiar with it, in order to be eligible for postseason awards, MVP or All NBA or any of the defensive player, any of those awards, you have to play 65 regular season games. They did that because way too many players were healthy scratches for games, again, for those that aren't familiar. You are telling us, Yells, when you say you have to play 65 games to be eligible for an award, you're telling all the fans, 82 doesn't matter, 65 is actually the number that we should care about. You're admitting to us 65 is the number of games we should care about, not 82.
Solid point. Excellent. Just because things aren't spelled out directly doesn't mean they don't work in your psyche. So that point, I mean, you nailed that one, Marsh. And even to add on pile on that, which makes it even worse, is the players don't give a shit. They don't even care about the awards at this point. There's a select few. The penalty may be hurtful for some of them that don't have a monstrous contract, but they don't care. They're making millions upon millions of dollars. They sit the games out. They do different things. We seen them in the club an hour after the game in that they sat out. See it every day. Man, I was telling Rick about, some of y'all may have seen it. Maybe you've seen it on TikTok, Instagram, somewhere, whatever, social media. And do you remember Kevin Martin? He was like the original sidearm shooter. And he was a menace. You would see him drop 40 some games, and the other games he would just go away. You remember that? For anyone who does, like he was a dog. You could bank on him for 17 points a game, but out of nowhere he would explode for 40 sometimes, and other times he would disappear. But he was instant offense. He checked in the game. He could play 3 minutes and end up with 15 points. Well, the interview was with one of his teammates who I can't remember, and they were saying he could have scored 30 points a game back then, but he physically told him and other teammates that he chose not to because he did not want to be a star. He did not want the other things associated with it, so he chose to only assert himself when needed, when in the game, and otherwise he would coast in the game. He would fall back and not continue to score because he did not want that. The player, when you make $1 million, that's a lot of money, right, to people. When you make 5, like it starts going, but once you start getting to things like 10 million, they don't give a shit about it. The accolades don't matter. The extra bonus, you have to be on a different level of drive to go for those things. So none of that matters. They've done so much to make the sport so great and so the return on investment so high for everyone, that they've kind of outpaced the fact that anyone even cares. The fans and the players, in my opinion.
And that's why you can't pay anybody to participate in the All-Star games, because the purse, they offering $500,000. Everybody like, nah, I'm good. I don't even want to play. I'm a chill.
Shit, I'll get that from the shell company. Let me go play for the Clippers. Like whatever, they don't care.
So your point about how much money they make. And at what point? So the NBA, in their attempts to make the players care about the Emirates Cup, is that they would award them a monetary value for winning it. So let's just put this into perspective. Steph Curry, in a single game, makes $650,000 to $700,000 per game. If you win the Emirates Cup, the players make $530,000 per player. So Steph Curry in a normal game makes more money than he would make if he were to win the NBA Cup. And that's true for Jalen Brunson, who has a big contract, Karl Anthony Towns. The Knicks actually did win it. I'm not just making Steph Curry an example of it. They throw money at these players.
Cut it out.
They suck this year, so we've got to like them when we can. They throw money at these players to try to make them care more when the games just... Forget about how much you're paying the players to play in it. You know every single Sunday, Rick, that you are going to lock in and watch the Texans play because the outcome of that game impacts their season. You guys were what, 3-4, 2-4 at one point in this season, and you're like, well, the season 0-3, and you're sitting there saying in week 4 we got to beat the Baltimore Ravens because if we don't, we're not making the playoffs.
Correct.
You are not doing that with Golden State or Houston on January 5th. Their game against the Suns. It's not if we lose this game, we have no chance of getting the top seed in the Western Conference or a top 4 seed in home court in the first round. Scarcity does not exist in the NBA, and there needs to be some... I understand, but with all these you have a national TV game on every single day of the week. The big problem, and the reason they won't go away from 82, is the regional sport networks. So the Bally Sports, which used to be Fox Sports, your NBC Sports that broadcast the local games, they make all their money from advertising during the other non-national TV games. It's not going away for that reason, but it should, because it would actually make a game. It would make, if you played twice a week in the same way that soccer plays twice a week in Europe, you would have people tuning in saying, I've got to watch this because if we win, I'm not going to see them for 3 or 4 days. And if we win, it actually impacts the season in a way that a loss today or a win today does not.
And you probably get a better brand of basketball, too, because the guys are fresher.
Exactly.
Those are all hope dreams, because it's not happening. I don't know how they scale back at this point. They've kind of already let the cat out the bag, several cats out the bag at this point. I don't even know how they will scale back, but I think you have to just move on and try a different way to make the game better, because I think limiting the amount of games, I don't think there's no way around that at this point in time.
You got to focus on the game itself now. I'll add another little wrinkle in here, too. One of the things that has probably made the NBA so much money here and will continue to is one of the same things that cannibalizes the league and all other sports at some point, and that's gambling. So it is, and people don't watch, like you said, they don't care about the outcome of the game. The players don't care about the outcome of the game. Fans very often don't care about the outcome of the game. In football, like you talk about fantasy football and stuff like that, where you guys mentioned, like you watch those stats, you can cheer for them, but there's such a limited amount of games. It's hard for me to digest, but I get it. You can literally have a player on the opposing team on your fantasy squad still win and still care and root for your team because it's plausible, because there's so less games that you can come to the outcome you need. In the NBA, it matters even less when you talk fantasy football and gambling or fantasy basketball and gambling, which many people do, because it doesn't matter. They can score 40. They lose. The game does not matter. So they literally only tune in to find out what their bets are riding on and no longer the competitive part of it. I could prove that in a phone a friend, right? I could call my sister and tell her she wouldn't even know what goddamn games are playing at all tonight and isn't going to watch them. But she will know if she has her bet. She may tune in for that.
Not to mention I have a personal policy whenever I go to watch a Warriors game, if I'm going to buy a ticket, if they're coming to, either Orlando and Miami, or if for some reason I'm on the road and they're in town, if they're on either side of a back-to-back, I'm not buying a ticket to the game, because I know that there's a very high chance, because I've experienced it, buying a ticket to see them play in Miami on the front end of a back-to-back. They were going Miami to, I think, Orlando, and they sat everybody. And I paid hundreds of dollars to sit in this arena to watch Jordan Poole and Jonathan Kuminga impressively win a basketball game, but I didn't pay to see them. I paid to see Steph Curry, Klay Thompson at the time, and Draymond Green. And you have so many fans that are shelling out all this money where you look at the schedule and say, I just don't care. Nobody played in the Warriors game against the Thunder. They got waxed. And then they came back and they played the next game against Utah. When you
Marsh, Where are you speak on behalf of Warriors fans? Where are you Warrior fans at with Draymond Green right now?
I would trade him. I would trade
Whoa!
him right
what?
now.
You would trade Draymond?
What do you get for Draymond
I would
at
trade
this point?
Draymond. See, here we're gonna take a huge tangent then. So the biggest, and I think you trade him with Jonathan Kuminga because that's how you can make any deal attractive and financially you can get into the range of a star. However, when the Warriors have traditionally talked about why Jonathan Kuminga or some other young piece on this roster doesn't work, it's because they always go back to, well, you need shooters on the floor. And before they started Quentin Post, who they start right now, they were starting Kevon Looney, who was a paint-bound center who could not, he could not shoot the ball at all. They were
He
always talking
can.
about, well,
He could in college. That's a different
he could
story,
in college,
though.
and then he had hip injuries and whatnot. But the problem with the Warriors is that they've created a roster that's hyper reliant on Draymond Green to be your center, and you can't
And
put
point guard.
non-shooters on the floor next
And
to him.
point guard.
And point guard. And he does those things really good. He's still a good playmaker. He still makes dumb turnovers. He's still a great defender, but he's not as good as he was in his prime. But you've created a situation in which you have to play three other shooters on the floor at all times to make it work. And you need that one of those guys to be a big man that can shoot, and if not, then you can't play any other guy that can't shoot. So a guy like Jonathan Kuminga is just roster crunched out of the rotation because Draymond Green has been forced into being the starting 4/starting 5 for this team. I would trade him. I think at this point his antics are kind of chaotic. I did not agree with the takes early on, but I have since kind of admitted defeat on him, that the fact that Steph Curry has really allowed this to happen, this cancerous external person
Steph
that
allowed
Draymond
this?
Green is. How do you, if you're Steph Curry and you're Steve Kerr, allow a guy like Draymond Green who punched a teammate?
He needed.
On
We all
camera
agree that if anyone in
to
the
still
league
be
needed to
there.
be punched by a teammate, you're gonna agree. You know Jordan Poole needed his ass whooped. You know that.
I'm not denying that, but I'm saying the fact that if Rick, you punched Yells in the middle of our podcast, I would be like, I don't know, Rick. I don't know that if he starts booming them, I don't know that I would feel super comfortable being like, yeah, let's just keep running this podcast back. Maybe we get rid of Yells. He's kind of annoying anyway. Who else could you bring in? I don't think that that's a great look. And that's what the Golden State Warriors have essentially done. And
I tell you what, Marsh. I tell you what, though. This would have never happened on Mark Jackson's clock.
Ooh, no.
they also would not have
Never.
4 NBA championships under Mark
Stop
Jackson.
you.
What?
That's Mark Jackson's team. That's Mark Jackson's team that won that championship, Mark. Don't get me started.
That's
Mark
a whole
Jackson's
nother
team got
episode.
beat
God
by the San
damn you,
Antonio
Marsh.
Spurs.
You were rapping earlier. You did all the right things to it right now. Mark Jackson.
He won 4 championships with Steve Kerr. I still believe in that. However, Steve Kerr has not made any schematic adjustments to a different roster. He continues to just hope that
He just keeps rolling out Mark Jackson's core roster and kind of keep it flowing. That's what he's doing. And now that Mark Jackson's core roster has either left or deteriorated, his team sucks. I haven't seen a Steve Kerr. I haven't seen a Steve Kerr game plan yet, or a Steve Kerr fully bet. I haven't seen a successful Steve Kerr roster yet. All I've seen is remnants of Mark Jackson's roster.
Damn.
Steve Kerr's
all I've
roster
seen.
they had the same roster. They had the same exact roster, and Steve Kerr won an NBA championship with it. Where I will give you the credit that when Mark Jackson did not win an NBA championship with that roster. Where I will give you credit is that Steve Kerr has not shown an ability to develop talent. They won 15 games. They didn't look any better in the year that everybody got hurt after KD left. And you look at the pieces, and it just has not looked great when it's not let 30 cook and see what happens. I don't have a good argument in defense of Steve Kerr on that one, and I'm sure he does not care what I think. So there you have it. All right. Anything else as we close out here? Anything to?
I didn't get to make this.
Go ahead.
I didn't get to make this point, but I do want to give kudos to Rick. I think Rick made some really good points today. The main one being just kind of about how we just spoon feed and crap and force them to do it. It's almost as if the NBA, every policy they make to make things better, also shits on the product. Because when you really just sit there and think, when you think about the things that they're doing, the offense or the defensive rules. Like we had talked about this offline too. Like the defensive rules to make the game more more exciting offensively to a casual fan. It makes how do the people who love to play defense how do you play defense in the NBA now? Like how can you? Like, right?
You're
right.
Lou Dort and you attempt to injure people. That's how you do it.
Right.
Listen,
but what I'm saying, and
that's where we at now.
And then,
that's where.
Staying on that theme, like, yeah, if you want to run 82 games because that's how you get the money to pay the players through the networks, excellent point, Rick. You got to run those games. You got to have back-to-backs. How can you expect some of them to play back-to-back and play 3-4 times in a night if you're going to run them in that way and have a different? How can you? Like, everything is a double-edged sword that is being done. If you want to pay them that amount of money, how can you tax and enforce that they feel incentivized? Like everything, we're kind of at the precipice where everything that is done is a double-edged sword, and I think that's really the problem. Get back to the basics. Just play basketball. Stop forcing anything and just play basketball.
And listen, yeah, because that the NBA, like most businesses, but the NBA specifically has cared so much about the business end to the default or to the detriment of the players. Nowadays, the players now are bigger, faster, stronger than they've ever been in history. It's like every player that comes to the NBA now is a genetic freak. And what happens is when you run them to the ground in an 82-game season, and not only that, but your league is set up for everybody to run as fast as they can with as many ball possessions as they can, as many points as they can. One thing people don't mention about defense of the league and defensive era is the game slowed down, which means I'd have to be a gazelle for 48 minutes a night, which in real time is 2.5 hours. I'd have to be a gazelle, run up and down the court for 2.5 hours. There were times, because the game was in a half-court set, that I could just preserve a little bit of my energy and save some wear and tear on my body. You want these guys to come in and be all world and be freaks of nature, and it's like getting a well-oiled machine or getting a nice vehicle and running it on the road 24/7. At some point, the tune-up is going to be needed. The tires going to need to be rotated. They're going to need to get switched out. And if you don't have the capacity of doing it because you have 82 games and because you're running guys into the ground because you want people to score 130 points a game, this is how you get people out the game for injury. So that's the part of the defensive side that no one talks about. It slows the game down a little bit. Give these guys a chance for their bodies to at least come off a shock value. He just dunked the ball 10 times in a row. He probably need a break.
That's how you had other team identities, because they could at least play defense. That's why we don't have other team identities. And then also in true Vince McMahon fashion, Adam Silver has said, I don't care what you want to see, fans. We've already screwed over the players. Now we're going to screw you over, fans. You don't know what you want to see. You like what the hell we tell you to see. You watch that shit. They're going to run up and down the court. They're going to take 7 steps. You watch what the hell we said on TV and you like it. It's not.
I'm telling you, if brothers ever start playing NHL, hockey's going to take over NBA. If brothers ever start getting in the NHL,
hockey's a live sport though, Rick.
NBA. I guarantee it.
If you go watch hockey live, hockey is the shit. Watching it live, you watch a hockey match live. It's the truth.
Well, hold on. You're showing your ethnicity there. It's not a hockey match. All right, it's a hockey game.
I say a match, and I'm always say match.
Let's start with that. Hockey is the best sport to watch live. Yeah. The best, hands down, no argument.
If they had some brothers, it'd be even better.
There's 3. I think there's 3.
That ain't enough. That ain't enough. I need a team of hockey players where like 90% of the roster are just brothers.
Well,
hey, can you imagine? Can you imagine?
Yo,
can you imagine somebody like scoring
the bad boys of basketball? No. The bad boys of hockey, my guy.
Rick,
you might see some fans revolt on that one. I'll be judged by some of their fan base. I mean, to give the NHL has an 82-game season. They do not run into the same issues that the NBA does.
I can't remember who the guy, he was on ESPN. He was saying why. He said because our guys play every goddamn game and they care about the game. He was like, that's what the NBA does not have. He was speaking on that specifically. He said when you come to watch a hockey match, he said game. When you come to watch a hockey match or game, and you came to see Crosby, Crosby is playing. Like what you're getting.
Crosby's hurt a lot, but I understand you. I understand what you're saying.
But if he can get on the ice, and like that
Yes.
for me, NBA guys, they're just not they're not relatable. In this, like NHL dudes will get their teeth knocked out. I'd be like, I can still skate, so I'm coming. Like that's relatable to just an average human being. I saw an interview with Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, and they were like, would you ever repeat outfits? And he goes, repeat outfits? Impossible. That's literally what he sounds like. And then they're like, not even. He's like, well, maybe if I was wearing like, a gray hoodie and Nike Tech to the grocery store, and like off camera, that a producer's like, oh, you go grocery shopping? He goes, no.
I saw that.
No person can relate to that.
No.
Like, you're gonna see this sweatshirt on this podcast more than once.
Was that
I'm gonna do my
5?
own grocery shopping. Sorry, what's that?
That was starting 5, right?
Yeah, it must have been. And I like just watching that, I'm like, you saying impossible to repeating an outfit, the most basic human thing ever. And then, the only time I would repeat it is doing this lowly thing of going grocery shopping like a nerd. You're just not relatable to, and I think
even that show got canceled. I think that's his last season. It's not coming back.
It did get canceled.
You know the one
thing tells you about it. Yeah, because you know why? Because it wasn't Anthony Edwards and his Lamborghini being like, "I'm coming to kill everybody. I'm doing
exactly." That's why you need to show Anthony Edwards all the time.
Nobody wanted to see. They didn't want to see LeBron James talk about how awesome he is. They want to see Anthony Edwards. If you watched the Olympic gold documentary, talking shit to President Barack Obama, that's what they want to see. And I agree with you. He made some questionable decisions and some pretty stupid statements off the court. But he is entertainment, and that's what.
Nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect.
Nobody's perfect.
Nobody's perfect. All right, that's our show.
Before the baby comes, who cares?
Yeah, send a pic. Send a pic.
Is that called a pre-birth? Like a prenup? You got to sign this pre-birth.
He's made some dumb decisions. He might be just.
You call it a dumb decision? That shit will be a norm in like 20 years. Everybody gonna be signing pre-births.
Send a pic.
The dumb decision is the baby mama getting on TV talking about how that ain't enough. She's disappointed because he paid it all at once.
She signed it. She signed it. That's the dumb decision.
That is NBA culture for you. That is NBA culture. The same, 10 to 15 women have babies from
That's true. That's terrible too. But I don't know why guys do that. But no, I kind of understand.
You're in Houston. You guys might have more insight than me.
I kind of understand it.
I don't. That's all I got. Okay, that's our
show.
Before
you get us out of here, Marsh. Before you get us out of here, just admit it though. I need you to say this before you close the show. You say the NBA's dying, right? But not NBA YoungBoy, because you are a fan. Yeah.
That's me, NBA YoungBoy. I'm stand number 1 over here. All right, that's our show. Appreciate y'all tuning in. You can always watch shows on YouTube if you're into that type of thing. Spotify and Apple Music as well. Thursdays, 3 p.m. Appreciate you tuning in. We'll catch you next Thursday here on Tell Me I'm Wrong.